Hello, my loves. I am back again. We're going to be talking Ascension Symptoms. It's been a few years since I have updated an Ascension symptom video. The last one I did was more about the Ascension symptoms of a spiritual awakening. So if you are looking for the general symptoms of a spiritual awakening, you can search on my YouTube and you can find it. You can even Google it. I was Googling earlier and found myself. So that is there. So if you're catching the replay, hashtag it replay. Let me know that you've been here, how you're feeling, what's coming up for you, what you're experiencing. It really helps when other people know that they're not alone, right? So it helps people to know they're not alone. So drop in the comments below what you're experiencing, what you are feeling over the past few weeks, so that we can talk about it and other people can know that they're not alone. So if you're new to me and you're just finding this video, I'm Johanna Burkhardt. I am a multidimensional teacher, healer, and guide. And I'm here to take you from where you are to where you want to be by turning your pain into purpose. And what we're going to be talking about today are the Ascension symptoms of the shift, of the event, of the Great Awakening, the Great Conjunction, all the names you want to call it. And this is different than the traditional Ascension symptoms of just having an awakening. And it's very, very different, right? There's certain symptoms that we feel that when we're just waking up, and then there's other symptoms that we feel as we go through these bigger and bigger shifts. And so we're going to be talking, as you guys, some of you may know, when I do my energy updates, I communicate with the planetary systems. I'm not an astrologer, but the way that I read energies, I'm very, very connected to the cosmos. I'm very connected to photonic energy and to the higher beings. We have actually a lot of beings that are here for this video right now. And this has been something that they have been wanting me to push, or not to push, to get out there and share with people, because with the big C word that's happening worldwide, people are going into fear of every little symptom. And so we really wanted to discuss the things that you could feel. Now, I'm going to put a disclaimer out there, a legal disclaimer. I am not a medical doctor, right? I do have some medical mediumship ability, but I am not a medical doctor. What I'm giving you is a information being brought forth from a higher source of things that you can experience, because everything physical we experience starts at an emotional level, right? Emotion is energy in motion. And when energy stops moving, when we stop feeling, when things stop flowing, when we get stuck in a limitation, a restriction, when we repress or hold on to something, that's not moving. And when you look at stagnant water, right, that hasn't moved, what happens? It grows. It grows mold, it grows moss, it grows things, it develops these things. So we're going to be talking about those kind of things and what you can experience through this shift. And now this shift is not going to be a one-time thing. It's not going to be it's not going to, oh, you guys might see or hear my cat. It's not going to be a one-day event, right? What we're feeling is the leading up to it. And then once this alignment happens, because that's what the Great Conjunction is. This event is a cosmic alignment that allows for certain things to come through that we have not experienced before, to shift us in a direction that we've never gone in before. Okay. And so as that alignment happens, it's about a 30-day-ish window of intensity. And then come February, we'll start to find a little bit more rebalancing, right? And so, but as we shift into this sector of space that I've been talking about, that is extremely rich in photonic light, these symptoms are going to change. They're going to be amplified. And so we really want to talk about those things. So I'm going to go over some stuff. And then while I'm talking, I would love for you guys to drop what you're experiencing below, and I will definitely take the time to read them and touch on them and add to them if I haven't already covered it. And I would love for you guys to share this broadcast out. So whether you're on YouTube or Facebook, share it out. Let people know about this. Sharing is caring, and we are all in this together, okay? When we rise together. And it's important that we share valuable information like this, okay? This is me coming on and showing up for you guys. So I want you guys to have that ripple effect and show up for other people by sharing, okay? So I'm going to go over some basic symptoms. I say they're basic, but they're going to sound run of the mill, and they are part of just having normal ascension symptoms. But then we're going to go more into what this planetary alignment that hasn't happened in this way in over 800 years, right? How this is going to be affecting us and how those planets are coming together, what they can experience, not just physical, but I'm also going to touch on some emotional stuff. So this is going to be a pretty good live. Okay. So let's just start with the basic stuff that you can experience. Anytime we have photonic light involved, right? Anytime we have high intensity energy, we're talking gamma rays are going to be coming through. And if you don't know what a gamma ray is, it's super high frequency, right? It's high up on the scale. Anytime we have rich photonic light like that coming in, right? There's even supersonic. There's all these different levels. It's very easy for it to cause a headache, because it's when your crown is super open and you have all that energy coming through, right? It can create a pressure on the cranial system. Okay. Now remember, everybody is going to experience this a little bit different. There will be some common symptoms across the board. Everybody's going to experience this different. And the intensity, sorry, my cat is being really annoying right now. The intensity of what you experience is going to be dependent upon the level of density in your body that you are still holding. So that density is shame, guilt, anger, frustration, right? Resentment, humiliation, the abandonment wounds, rejection, all of those energies. So if there's unresolved issues that you haven't faced yet, right? This photonic light that's going to be coming in, again, I know I say this a lot, but the more I say it, the more that it becomes a natural thing for you to remember. It's like a faucet or a waterfall, right? So if you're a person, you go stand under the Niagara Falls, it's going to hurt. It's not going to feel good, right? So imagine if you have blocks inside of you of shame, guilt, right? Resentment, anything that you've repressed or haven't faced, or maybe you didn't even know was there because we let go in layers. So it might be something new. As that light comes pouring in, it hits that density. And that's what actually causes the physical discomfort. So symptoms that are going to be across the board for everybody is you are going to have headaches. It's going to happen, right? Headaches is a call to drink more water. It's a call to move your body, right? Because that energy's stuck. Right? So we want to get out of our head and we want to get that energy moving. So you can use breath work. You can get outside and move your body, or inside and move your body. Hydrate. You need a conductor. When you have stuck energy, you need something to move it. So you need a conductor. I will actually be showing you, they're reminding me, a technique that will help with you to move energy that's super fun, and your kids will probably dig it. That you can do with your family. You can do in the shower. You can do anywhere. Well, you probably won't want to do it anywhere, but we'll get there. So you'll have headaches, exhaustion, extreme fatigue is going to be across the board something that everybody's going to experience at some level or another, because the amount of energy, again, moving through you. If you have a constant electric source running through you and you're not used to that, it's very taxing on your body. So this is a call. I know during this time, right, we're usually running around, we're shopping, we're visiting people or doing things, maybe not visiting people now, but you know what I mean? We're a little bit more busy. The human is more busy. This is a time to slow down, even though that's what we normally would do. It's a time to slow down because we really need to be present with the body and listening to what's happening. Ringing in the ears. Now, there's a couple of things here that I want to discuss because this is the most common misconception I hear across the board when I look at people's posts and I see their comments. I don't correct them because this is their journey, but I'm going to share my perspective and what my guides tell me. So when you have a constant frequency, low ringing or high pitch ringing, constant, right? It could last a whole day. It could last 3 days. Sometimes mine will last a week. That is a frequency shift. That's you upgrading your baseline frequency, right? If we're going to take it linear and we're moving from 3 to 5D, some people are moving from 5D to 7D or 6D. Wherever we're moving on that scale, you have to go through that frequency shift inside of you because you are an energetic being, right? A bunch of energy coming together, held tightly together in a third dimensional plane creates physicality, right? So your body is made up of billions of light codes held together in a third dimensional plane of existence. So you have to remember these things. So a constant stream of frequency, not a sharp pitch through, but that constant line of ear ringing is you going through a frequency upgrade. Your frequency is shifting. So something you can do if it's really bad, because sometimes it can be really bad, this is where spiritual development comes in. This is where you start communicating with your team, your guides. Every single person on the planet has a team of guides. And you just start talking to them. You don't even have to sit in meditation. You can just go within and say, please turn it down. Can you dial it down a little bit? It's still going to be there because it's just part of it. But you can ask it to be turned down, okay? And then you have to believe that they will support you and do that. If you get sharp piercings that come in one side and out the other, that is your guides getting your attention, right? Or a loved one getting your attention. That's different, okay? You can also get an ear ringing when you're hearing someone talk as a validation, meaning the guides are saying, hey, tune in, listen to what she's saying. This is important. We've been trying to tell you this. I've guided you to this person, place, or thing, okay? So ear ringing is important. Ear pressure is different. Ear pressure is a change in your barometrics inside. I was not prepared to say that word. So it's a change of pressure inside of you. It's a release, right? So there's this energy that's this pressure happening to move energy, right? To clear space. So your ear sensitivity is another thing that will probably be seen across the board. The ear sensitivity is because a lot of people are beginning. So here's the thing. As the energy shifts collectively into a fifth dimensional frequency, and those who are shifting into that frequency with it, you don't have to be fully alive, fully functioning 100% of the time in 5D to live in the 5D frequency. That's not how that works, okay? So don't listen to anybody who tells you different. I disagree. However, when you're living in that 5-dimensional frequency, you're more in tune clairaudiently, okay? So your ears are going to start to open up, and it means you're going to become more sensitive. So you might have to turn things down. You don't need to have anything blaring. You're probably not going to like blaring music. It's crowds, you overwhelm, right? So when that's happening, when there's an overwhelm of sound, it's almost like your ear chakras are getting blown out, right? They're blowing out your speakers because they need to attune you and pressurize you to a higher frequency where you can listen and hear the subtle energies a lot better. And so that's really important for you to remember too. So the ear pressure, there's not a lot you can do for it. Hot showers and having steam is going to help. Laying down, resting, hydrating, all of those things, doing your inner work, you guys, doing your inner work, your parts work, your shadow work, whatever you want to call it, however you're doing it, do your work. Don't know how to do your work? Join my academy. I will help you do your work. So let's see what else. Aches and pain. I'm starting with the general ones. So the ones that most people will feel across the board. Aches and pains, again, body, your bone structure holds the programming from your ancestral line, okay? It holds the programming from mom and dad. It holds the programming from their ancestors and their ancestors, what you were programmed. Remember, the skeleton, the spine is what's the first thing that develops when you're in utero. So that spine, right, the skeletal structure is the masculine energy. It is what holds us up. So it's literally made of the beliefs of everything that came before you, the beliefs of mom as you were being developed inside of her, that as you were growing, the beliefs that were programmed into you until you stopped growing. So there's a lot in there that you're probably not aligned with anymore. So when you get the flu or you get a really bad cold and you have the body aches, what's actually happening is your body is clearing that programming. Okay, because the flu is not just the flu, and a cold is not just a cold. right? We say these things and we think, oh, it's just a cold. No, honey, you are releasing something. Even if someone is stupid asleep, right? And I don't mean that they're stupid. I just mean like really asleep. And they're like, oh my God, it's December and I have allergies. No, you don't. But you don't know any better. So you're going to say it's allergies. And that's okay. They don't need to know. When they're ready, they will know. But you're always releasing something energetically. When you're sick, it's a clearing. It's a purging. Okay. Yawning or burping a lot. If you know me personally, if you've ever worked with me or seen me on a live, I usually can contain it pretty well on a live, but I belch a lot because I'm a transmuter. And so I will move energy by belching. Sometimes I get into the salt water, I get into the ocean, and it just goes and goes and goes. I could put many men to shame. But if that's not something you're used to, right? If that's not something you're used to doing, you're like, why am I belching all the time? Why am I yawning all the time? It's a movement of energy. So here's how I differ from other teachers out there. A yawn is an activation. When you're yawning, you're receiving an activation. When you're belching, you're releasing. Because when you're yawning, do you ever notice it's like you feel this stretching happening? The yawns are activations, okay? Dizziness, vertigo, lightheadedness, very common things to experience. Again, energy. If you're not grounded, meaning connected into your body fully, you can be prone to accidents. You can feel lightheaded. You can feel dizzy. You can feel like you're like, what is happening? Your head's kind of disconnected, right? Probably because there's some stuff happening inside of you that you're not wanting to feel, or maybe you've just grown up living that way where you have kind of always been outside of your body. And those things are more prevalent when the energy is intense because, again, it's like acid reflux. That's the best way to describe it, right? The photonic light comes in, it hits the density, starts breaking that density up into small little bite-sized chunks, and it kicks it up to your heart going, hey, look at me. Hey, look at me. Are you going to accept me? Are you going to hold space for me? Are you going to love me? So excessive thirst, this is huge, right? There are days when I have my 40-ounce water bottle. I can't get enough. I chug. I just can't get enough water, okay? Why? Water is a conductor, okay? So limit your sugar intake. Sugar is not good for ascension at all. When I have sugar, Lord help me, okay? So drink more water, less juice, less sugary drinks. You can even use carbonated water and stuff. I would limit it, but you can use it. It will actually help you move. You know, it really helps. The gas bubbles will actually helps move the energy. So excessive thirst, change in eating habits. I think across the board, everybody's going to experience a change in eating habits, meaning there are going to be days where you don't want to eat. There are going to be days where you can't get enough food. And here's something that I'm going to tell you that I don't often say, and I really want to express this. You may crave foods that you are going to judge yourself for. You may crave foods that you're like, I don't eat that. Why am I craving that? There's a reason. There is a reason. Now, let me tell you this. I went through a phase. When was this? I think it was the end of 2018, 2017, 2018, somewhere around there. I can't remember exactly. Time is all blurry for me. Anyway, I went through 6 weeks where all I wanted was bread. Grains are like poison to my body. But there's something in it that actually helps weave your abundance cords. So people will go through phases where they just crave certain things. Honor it if you can, the best way that you can. Okay? If that means you get organic bread, or you go to millet, or you go to something else that isn't, wheat or filled with Roundup, whatever they're spraying on the wheat fields today, right? Honor those requests. When I'm going through deep healings of grief, I crave Pepsi. I don't drink soda, but I will allow myself to have a fountain drink, and I will drink it. There's something about it that helps me process. So don't judge yourself for what you're craving. We're birthing right now, okay? What we're doing is getting ready to birth a new reality for for everybody collectively. And so for me personally, it's like a pregnancy craving, right? I crave peanut butter. I could literally stick a huge spoon into peanut butter and constantly eat it just by itself. And that's how I always know, okay, I'm getting ready to birth something, because I'm having the pregnancy cravings. I'm filling my body with peanut butter. So listen to what your body's asking for and check in with yourself. Am I trying to medicate something? Is this a weird craving and I'm in pretty decent spirits and I just need to honor it? Or maybe you're not. Maybe you're in the emotional dumpster and this is a craving, as long as you're not medicating, okay? You're not shoving your face full of pizza and beer or wine or champagne or whatever your thing is to cover it up, okay? So honor what you're being asked to eat. Okay, let's talk about some of the other ones. Oh, okay. So here's some other things real quick, general across the board. And I'm giving you both because there's two reasons for each. So excessive sweating and hot flashes, okay? When you feel hot, again, think of a fever. What does a fever do? It's burning off the infection. What is the heat doing? It's a transmutation. So it's lighting up whatever is dense and it's breaking it up so that it can pass through you, okay? So when I channel and I bring through a lot of energy, especially when I'm doing light language or any of that kind of stuff, I literally will just be pouring sweat down my body. It's amount of me moving energy. So when you're moving a lot of energy, you can get really hot, okay? So keep your environment regulated to whatever it is that you're experiencing. When you're going through integration, you can get really cold. Why? Because it's getting into the bones. You ever heard cold to the bones, right? That energy is getting now into your bones. It's integrating the new programming. The new software update is coming online. That brings in a lot of cold, okay? So knowing this information can kind of help you navigate where you are and what you're experiencing so that you don't lose your mind. Because one of the things, I'm going to be coughing. Hold on a second. Coughing, moving energy. Okay. Can't remember what I was talking about. It'll come back. That stream of consciousness will return. So when you're going, that's it. Thank you. I was laying in bed one day and I was listening to my guides and I was in the dumps, right? I was going through a big emotional purge of my own and I was going over all of my symptoms and I'm listening to my guides and then I kind of dozed off, meaning not asleep, but into lower consciousness, right? I kind of slipped into that sleep mode of like 4 and 5D consciousness or 3 and 4D consciousness. And I noticed that I grabbed my phone and I started searching for symptoms of the C word. And as soon as I started scrolling, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I woke back up. I said, what am I doing? And my guide said, this is what's happening. People are having a cold or their nose is running or cough, or they're feeling a tightness in their chest, or they're feeling that fatigue, and they're starting to search the symptoms and they're starting to see, oh my God, do I have this? And the reason why I'm telling you that is because the C word is not a bad thing, right? Is it a real thing? Yes. If you get it, does it mean that there's something wrong with you? No, it means it was a part of your divine path. But again, you can also manifest it. So please don't go searching for these things thinking that's what it is and calling it in, okay? I want you always to come back to this present moment first and really learn. This is why, you guys, in my academy, I teach you how to read your body. I teach you how to do these things because your body holds all the answers, literally. Everything you need is your body has a sensation attached to it. Since the sensation is attached to a feeling. It's a symptom. The feeling is a symptom of the sensation. The sensation has information. The information allows for choice, right? At that moment, we can choose, is this, or is this? Now, for me, I had some physical symptoms that I went to a doctor for. And I went to the doctor, and I'm going to go into this in a second. Your eyes. So your eyes with this particular event that's happening. And it's weird because I literally have it on my whiteboard right here, but I can't show you guys because it's a part of an advanced course. So I'm not going to give away all the secrets, but I have it up. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. But I went into my doctor and I said, I have my eyes are really watery and I have this discharge and all this stuff. And she looks and she goes, oh, it looks like there's some, I forget, proteins being released. So let's give you some eye drops. And I said, yeah, my vision's really blurry. She goes, oh no, that's not part of that. You need to go to the eye doctor. And I thought, no, I don't. My eyes are recalibrating. My physical sight is being upgraded, right? So my eyes are recalibrating. So my vision's been going in and out of blurriness and super clarity where I don't even need my glasses. And it's been going back and forth. And so then I'll have a few days where my eyes are really good. And today they're not, right? I don't have my eyelashes on. I can't wear them because my eyes are watery. It's not working. So my eyes are going through a recalibration. So not everybody's going to experience that, but that is a symptom. That is something physical that can happen, is your eyes are going to go through a recalibration because your optics are literally changing. Okay. Let's see, anything. Oh, interrupted sleep patterns. Again, I kind of talked about this earlier. Some people are going to sleep a lot. Some people are going to wake up a lot, right? It depends on your energy type and what you're going to be experiencing. So if you're not sleeping well, don't beat yourself up. Take naps, utilize that time, read, listen to music, right? Try to do good things with it. If you're sleeping a lot, you're not lazy. Your body needs it. There's a bazillion things going on inside of there that's exhausting, right? So you might not have all the energy that you had or wanted, right? And that's where I've been, especially if you are somebody who anchors light onto Gaia. I'm one of those people, right? I'm constantly anchoring light when we do this. I told you when my feet open, it feels like water's pouring out of them. That's me anchoring light. I am a hose. And so if you're one of those people, that is you doing your work for the collective. Like I could never teach again and just sit in my meditation chair every day and be that vessel and work on the 12D grid and know that I'm doing my part. I don't even have to show up. I choose to show up, right? This is my mission in life. And I could not do it, but I could walk away and just do that, right? That's my work too. So if you're somebody who's like me in that way, and I know there's a lot of you, honor that, allow for that time as best you can. Right? I know some of you still have conventional jobs, and that's okay. You have to do what you can with where you are, with what you got, and just make sure that you put yourself as a priority. Vivid dreams and flashbacks. Okay. These are other things that you can experience. Vivid dreams, because again, we're starting to come into that sector where the light is very strong. And so it's starting to bring us back to the remembrance, right? When you're vivid dreaming, you can be astral traveling, or you could just be literally going into your own records and purging. That's something to remember. I'm glad that came out because, like for me, the past few nights, my dreams didn't make any sense. Some of them were not so good. It's not that they were bad and they weren't necessarily nightmares, but the things that were happening and the people that were showing up in the dreams are from a long time ago. Because not only is this like a huge 200 year cycle, it's a 20-year cycle as well. So people from 20 years ago could be showing up in your dreams or showing up in your actual reality. But you could also be doing purging. We do so much healing in our sleep, in our subconscious state, so that we don't have to do it in our physical reality. Because I'm going to blow your mind. Because when you're awake and walking around, most of the time you're actually asleep. I don't care how awake you think you are. I still have moments where I go back to sleep. But when you're physically asleep, you're wide awake. Consciously, you're wide awake. So you're going to process and do more healing that way. Okay? And one other thing I'm going to drop is you dream in reverse, guys. So if you are trying to remember your dreams, the last thing you remember is actually the beginning of the dream. Okay? So if you're having disruptive dreams, if you're having crazy shit happen in your dreams, if you're having weird stuff, Don't take it literal. It's all metaphorical, and it could also just be a purging, okay? All right, so let me get onto my board here and make sure that we're going to talk about Saturn for a minute. So this conjunction is with Saturn and Jupiter aligning, and Saturn is the father energy. It's the masculine energy. It's also karmic. I'm just going to read off of these so I don't get lost. It has a lot of the time wounds. It's the war, Saturn represents war, so a lot of internal conflict inside, restriction, control, lessons, limits. So this is the not enough wounds, the time pressures, not feeling supported, abandonment, birth traumas, in utero traumas, control issues. Saturn actually rules the root chakra. So this is a lot of root chakra energy, security, safety, right? Victim. What else do we got on here? It's the element of earth, obviously. It's the energy of power, of motivation, of needs needing to be met, of responsibility, of embodiment, the lack mindset, trust, patience, diligence, boundaries, all of those things. And there's a lot of organs that are associated that we're not going to get into, but that's a lot of energy, right? So Saturn is like the dad wounds, right? It's the masculine wounds. It's your control issues. It's your safety issues. It's your abandonment issues. Again, as I talked about in the child video about the child they're feeling, a lot of children are losing their shit because they don't feel safe. They don't feel secure. And that's a reflection of the parents not providing the energy of safety and security, right? Your home may be safe and the kids may be actually safe. But remember, everything's energetic. We respond with that fight or flight system like a tiger's charging at us, even though really it's just a bill that hasn't been paid that's sitting on the counter. So we have to see how that energetics is played out in our thing. So with that being the Saturn energy and Saturn being connected at a 0 point with Jupiter, Jupiter is all about expansion, okay? But there are just like there's good energies with Saturn, there's good energies with Jupiter, but I want to talk about the shadow frequencies right now because that's what a lot of people are going to be feeling because that's what's working its way up. Okay, so Jupiter's connected to the liver and the circulation of the blood. All right, with Saturn, that's more of adrenals, the bone structure that we talked about, the muscular system, the lower three vertebrae, kidneys, adrenals. I think I already said that. The colon. And also your blood flow in the left chamber of your heart. So with Jupiter, it's a lot about liver. What does your liver do? Your liver is your life filter. It's the filter for the internal system in the body. So you're going to be experiencing detoxing. You're literally going to be detoxing. So if your body smells weird, your breath smells weird, you're detoxing. There's chemicals literally purging from your body. So get in the Epsom salt and baking soda bath and help it. Go to a sauna, sweat it out. Whatever you got to do to help that body purge that energy. Some of the negative effects of Jupiter are blind trust. Then we're going to talk about emotional and physical here. Stupid luck, meaning, of course, isn't that just my luck? That kind of thing, right? Greediness, bragging. These are all kind of like power over issues, right? Remember, Jupiter's an expander. It's like, I'm going to do this, right? Spiritual imbalances, complacency, right? Sometimes we get into that mindset of all the bad things that are going and we want to give up, right? A lot of people are feeling really depressed right now. And that depression is not their normal thing. But as you empty your well, and you fill that emptiness is actually pure potential, right? It's the space where you get to create and fill it with what you desire. But the human forgets that, and it just sees that you're empty. And so you're abandoned, you've been rejected, nobody wants you, nobody's filling up your cup, it's empty, it's very depressing. But remember, that's a call to rest. That's a call to really lay back and take your time and say, what do I want to be instead? Because you're leaving who you used to be and you're becoming somebody new when you're depressed. Okay. So there can be that shift happening, right? That space between, that void. And that's what we're in right now. We're in the space between for a few more days anyway. What else? Excuse me. inflexibility, stubbornness, an unwillingness. How can I say this? It's an intolerance of other people's belief systems, meaning, again, the war energy being amplified. So that internal conflict inside of you is happening, and someone comes to you with a different belief system, and you instantly want to fight with them and prove them wrong. It's not because they're wrong and you're right, or they're right and you're wrong. It's a disempowered energy. Again, Saturn is all of that karmic stuff coming up, all those old belief systems, all that old programming from your line and your own life. And now you have it being blown out, means it's going to be mirrored back to you. And somebody's going to offer you something else, and you're going to go into that inner conflict is going to turn into an external conflict. And so you get stubborn and inflexible and unwilling to hear another person's point of view, or you don't allow them to have their own journey. You don't allow them to have their own beliefs, right? You want to prove to them that you're right and that they're in danger if they don't believe your way. And maybe their path is to experience that wrong way because it's going to provide an invaluable lesson. Again, this is another one, extremes, and just being generally out of alignment. So those are some of the things that you will feel physically and emotionally because of this particular alignment. And let me think of anything else before I go through and read your guys' questions. Oh, your sciatica. Your sciatica could really be amped up. All right, let me put my glasses on and let me read some of these questions. The C word is what's happening worldwide. I won't say it because I don't want to get flagged. It's the virus. If I say the E word, it's the thing with the people who are in charge of our country. Okay. I'm so tired. Yeah, that's pretty typical. I have been alternating ear pain, moments of intense pain, then lower level uncomfortable sensations. Started in my ear, but shifts to the left as well. Let me sit with that because I have my guides coming in. They told me I forgot something. Okay, so with the karmic purging, this is going to be digestive issues as well. I mean, I think that to me that's pretty common, but I forget that not everybody is where I am. So digestive issues, right? We're talking sacral, solar plexus, sacral, the lower three chakras, root, sacral, solar plexus. So when we're talking about shame and guilt, that lives in the sacral and solar plexus energy, right? That's where that energy is stored. And so when we start moving that stuff, you may have lower cramping in the belly. You may have nauseousness, right? You may have bloating and stomach upset. You may be using the bathroom a lot. It's not a coincidence that every time these two planets came into any kind of proximity that there was a toilet paper shortage, if you get my drift, okay? So any type of lower digestional upset is associated with a karmic purge, always. There's a reason why, gut brain, right? But something that I'm going to tell you that I'm not going to go too deep into, again, because it's a part of an advanced teaching that I don't have the time, nor do I want to dive into here, or am I willing to dive into, is the sacral chakra is actually connected to the third eye chakra, right? The way the chakras are taught is actually not in alignment with what I've been channeling. And it's going to be really cool for those who go through the advanced teaching. Anyway, the sacral is connected to the third eye. So as you cleanse that line, right, you're able to see things differently. Why is that? Because your sacral is connected to, again, that karmic line. That includes all the belief systems, all the programming that came before you and was built as you developed and grew. So as that chakra was developed in your second 7-year life cycle, and as you were going through that, it was being programmed. And so you're being programmed to believe something, and it is always, you believe, how does it go? People think I need to see to believe. People like to say that. I have to see it to believe it, right? But that's a belief. So you always believe to see. What you believe is what you will see. So as that cleansing is taking place in your sacral chakra, the changes happen up here as well, because I'm not going to go there because that's going to be giving away too much. They're connected. So it's going to change the optics. It's going to change the lens. And what's associated with the third eye is ears, nose, right? Your jaw. You have to think about these things. Those are all your actual physical eyes. Those are all connected to your third eye. So any of that energy, okay? And so when you have those issues down here in your lower part of your body and you're clearing it, once you pass through that, this is going to change and it's going to be clear. You're going to see clearer. Okay. So that's something that was really important that they wanted me to bring through. Okay. Let me back to this question. Alternating ear pain. Okay. Moments of intense pain and then lower level uncomfortable sensation started in my right ear, but shifts to my left as well. Is it constant? You said moments of intense pain. So how does it alternate? That's how I'd like for you to tell me how it alternates. Does it feel like it comes in one and out the other? Or is it just like one day it's this one day it's this one? Because if your ear's hurting on your left side, that's a receiving. If your ear's hurting on your right side, it's a releasing. Okay. But I do believe it's an Ascension Symptoms. It doesn't feel like anything medical. Extreme exhaustion. Keep to yourself more. That's a good point, Nicole. Thank you for that. Wanting to not separate or isolate, but you don't want to be around other people because you're sensitive to the energy of it, okay? There is techniques that you can use to manage your energy so that you can go out and be around people and not take on or be so attuned to their vibration. You might find some stuff on my YouTube channel about that, but it's definitely in my academy. Feeling so tired these last few weeks, purging, resting, cleaning, honoring my need to slow down. Yeah, physical purging and cleaning of your home. It's almost like spring cleaning, right? When we're making space inside of ourselves, you'll find yourself making space outside of yourself. So even if you don't realize that you're going through something internally, when you find yourself going around your house, starting to donate things and clean things, that's happening because there's something being cleaned in here. Hi guys, let's see. Whoever you are, we are going to block you because you're not going to spam my tribe. I'm going to delete that comment. I'm going to delete this one. Okay. And that says, makes so much sense about my ear pressure. Yes. Lots of people with tired. I burp a lot sometimes too, like a lot. Yeah, it's crazy. I could seriously, my husband, when I was married, used to look at me and going, oh my God, like you could put me to shame. Crystal, I've been craving ice cream a lot and I never eat ice cream. There you go. There's something in it. It could be the cold. It could be, you don't know what it is. So honor. It doesn't mean you have to like indulge in it, right? All right, we're going to delete this comment. I don't know who you are, but I don't like your energy. Vicky says, I'm listening and a hawk is circling overhead. Ooh. I hope you guys figured out what the C word is by now, so I don't have to keep saying it. Strange dreams. Let's see, what else are you guys feeling? Yeah, depressed, deep rest. Isn't that a cool? I posted that thing yesterday. Who said that? Jim Carrey. I think it was Jim Carrey who wrote that quote. And it really resonated with me that depressed equaled deep rest because you're literally changing the person you are. Let's see. I've been really agitated and angry recently. Is this purging? Oh, great, Lauren. I hope that's how you say it. That's a great one. Thank you. So Saturn, right? That is that war energy, that conflict energy. So if you have unresolved conflict, things that you've repressed, like resentment. So anger is you taking that energy and pushing it outward. When you're resenting somebody, you're angry at yourself, so you're pushing it inward. So any types of those energies, those things are coming up. Not only that, but anger is grief's bodyguard. So if you're super angry, right, or if you have a spouse who's super angry, who yells or controls, or everything needs to be a certain way, they are protecting themselves from feeling the grief inside of them. We are all grieving. We are literally changing everything about our world, and it's happening at a faster pace than it ever did before. And if you look back through history, when we've been through shifts similar to this, never to this magnitude, it was a slow transition. It's still going to be a building, right? It's not going to be like tomorrow you're going to wake up and everything's going to be different, but this is happening at a more dramatic, escalated pace, and we're being more constricted, so we're paying more attention to it. In the past, when it's been good shifts, we didn't really notice it. It was just like all this thing, right? When cell phones came in, right? When pagers came in, when these things started happening, it was just like this next thing. Oh yeah, okay, it's the next thing, like the next iPhone that's coming out. But this is going to be a little bit more dramatic because we have to watch the deconstruction for the new construction, okay? So because of that, it's grief. Things are changing that you are used to, that you have invested your time and energy and love into. So realize that when you are super angry, that's grief's bodyguard. And what it's doing is stepping in and saying, it's not safe for you to feel this grief. That's a protector personality. This is parts work, you guys. Okay, this is why I'm teaching reclamation right now, the course Reclamation, because that's what 2021 is. It's going to be a year of disclosure, but it's going to be a year of reconciliation, of reclamation, of humanity reclaiming its power, and everybody reclaiming that power inside of them. So they have to reconcile all the parts and pieces of themselves. Okay. So I'm still in the process of dripping out the content for reclamation in the academy. So you guys, if you want to do that, learn how to do that work, jump in. But if you're agitated and angry, when you feel that energy coming up, you need to recognize that that's not because of anybody else. Someone's pushed that button, and you need to process that on your own and realize that this is happening because I don't want to feel something emotional. I don't want to feel the pain of loss. I don't want to feel the pain of the past hurts. And so I got this big bad bodyguard that gets up and projects and says, no, I don't want to hear your bullshit, and just pushes it back onto the other person, right? It is very common right now. So I really appreciate you bringing that up. And if other people are super angry and agitated, have compassion for them. Recognize, I am you, you are me, right? That person is doing the same thing. They don't want to feel the pain and deep hurt inside of them. Crystal, for me, I'm ear ringing, has like major, long, loud, to the point I literally laugh out loud or wake myself up at night. Major, long, and loud. How long is it lasting? Yeah, Crystal, for you personally, this is going to be more directed for you personally. You have a very active team that really kind of wants you to step into your work. And because of that, they're very active with you, right? And why is it more active overnight? You know, people call it the witching hours, but the reason why is because there's so many people that are physically asleep. And when they're physically asleep, consciously, their consciousness is awake. And so that vibration is different. And there's not a lot of busyness happening. There's more stillness. And so that's why it's not that that's the only time they come. It's not the only time you can experience phenomenon or hearing your guides or having that type of thing. It's because of the stillness, and it's because of the frequency shift that happens. And so it's really important to recognize that. And you can communicate with your team and ask them, you know, but that would require you to sit and to do your spiritual development work during the day. So it's a choice we make, right? It's a choice we make. But for your ear ringing, I feel like yours is a little bit different. And so You're definitely going through a frequency upgrade, but I also feel like there's something else there that I can't quite put my finger on because I'm connected to too many people right now. It's a low level TC. It's a low level uncomfortable in both ears, but one may be more painful for a period of time. Okay. Yeah. So you're going through a frequency upgrade. And again, when there's more intensity on one or the other, if it's on the left, you're receiving, right? It means you're receiving incoming energies. And when it's going out the right, you're releasing. My husband lost his hearing, so he uses a hearing aid. Can he hear again now? Is sick. I'm not sure. I'm confused by that statement. So he used hearing aid. Oh, he can hear again because of the hearing, but now he's sick. So the loss of hearing is more associated with a wound, more than it is ascension symptoms. You can have moments where your ears kind of go, you know how when you're traveling and you go through that air pressure change and you feel like your ears are clogged. I forget the human words for this. You can experience it like that, but a loss of hearing, it's almost like that's a wound, something he's got to work through. Any type of major illnesses like that or things that happen, those are all associated to emotional imbalances. Oh, thank you, Nicole. Okay, let's see what else. Gas, it's long and loud. Well, your gas is the same as belching. It's just a release of energy. I have a lot of healing to do, but now I know where to start. Yes, good. So anybody have any other questions? So some other things that we can go over real quick. It's not going to be a lot of heart energy. There will be some chest pains associated with it or tightness in the chest only because of the lungs, and the lungs is the last place where we let go. So there's a lot of grief there. Not that you can't feel heart palpitations or feel a fluttering of the heart. Anytime we have energy of this magnitude coming in, my heart does a whole bunch of fluttering. But unless it's personal to you and your healing journey, then you may be experiencing, but across the board in this particular shift, I don't feel a lot of heart energy that's going to be coming up. I feel like it's very much associated with the lower three chakras, okay? The heart is the bridge. It's the neutral point. And so when we feel those heart things, it's an expansion of our neutral point. It's an expansion of our baseline energy, okay? I think we're on the same journey. Oh. Anxiety, again, I mentioned this earlier with the children one. Anxiety is it's an excess of energy. That's all it is. So when you feel an excess of energy and then you look inward and go, what's wrong with me? What's happening? What's doing it? You're making it more about you. So that energy amplifies and it begins to feel like anxiety, especially with the amount of energy that's going to be coming in. It can kind of cause an amping effect, right? Remember I talked about, I felt like I drank like 10 energy drinks and I don't drink energy drinks. It's an amplifying and amping up happening because there's so much energy. So anxiety is going to be that. And shortness of breath, again, that can be something that can come up. Again, that's going to be particular to certain people depending on the level of grief that they're experiencing and what they're letting go of. Here's what I'm going to tell you. If you experience physical symptoms that make you worried, like you feel like you need to go to the doctor, go. But here's the thing. I want you to tune into yourself and I want you to ask yourself, is there a reason why I could be experiencing this? Did I do something, eat something, touch something, whatever that would cause me to have this? Did it develop slowly or did I wake up and I was just like snot city? All right. Usually when we develop colds or illnesses, you feel it coming on. Okay. You feel it coming on. So did you feel this progression? Or did you just wake up and you're like, I'm so dead to the world, exhausted, and now my nose is stuffy and my eyes are watering and I'm coughing, right? You guys should be making sure that you're eating clean as much as possible, meaning less processed food. Same thing I always tell you, drinking lots and lots of water, limiting your alcohol consumption, limiting your bad food consumption, moving your body however you feel guided to move it. even if it's just doing some light stretching or yoga to really get that column of light, your spine opening up. Okay. Resting. What are you also taking in from your environment? What kind of stuff are you watching on TV, if at all? What kind of stuff are you listening to? What kind of people are you surrounding yourself with? It's not just about what we physically ingest. It's what we energetically ingest. Okay. So we need to check your environment. So before you go to the doctor, really check in with yourself. And if you go to the doctor and your symptoms are wacky and they don't know what to do, don't just start taking random prescriptions. I mean, you can do what you want, but I would highly recommend going against it, right? Prescriptions were meant to be a temporary Band-Aid so that you could get your diet and your life back in check to correct the illness. The same way when you go to an energy healer, right? When I used to do just plain old energy healings, people would come to me and I would rebalance their chakras, or I would clear out their meridians or their pathways, or move the energy that was stuck in their back, causing back pain. But then if they leave me and they go do the same damn things that caused the pain to begin with, and they don't change the programming, they're just going to reinfect themselves. So it's all temporary. We are in charge of our wellness. We're sovereign beings. You have the power to take care of yourself by what you put in your body. And that's going to be different for everybody. Some people can be vegan. Some people will want to be called to meat. Some people will eat certain things while others can't tolerate it. So the reason why there's so many diets is because, well, that worked for that person and that worked for that person, right? And there's collectives that those fit in. But really, we need balance. We need a well-balanced diet more than anything. And our body needs to be able to predict when we're going to eat. So this comes into security and having structures, right? So developing good structures, that's part of having good boundaries. It's having it, when do you eat? What does your body know that food's coming? Does it feel safe to know that it's not going to go hungry? So you got to develop these things inside of you. You have to be the responsible father figure that you need inside of you. You are responsible for you, nobody else. Nobody else. Nobody's going to save you here. You have to save yourself. You have to become the parents that you needed to have, or the parents that you need to have right now inside of you. You need to govern yourself that way. That's where we're going. That's why I teach everybody in my academy to trust themselves, to guide themselves, to lead themselves, because that's it. I don't want you to need me. I want you to take this information and go be the lighthouse so that you can shine the light for somebody else who's lost in the dark going, what the hell's happening? This is why I do this. It's to create more people in a similar fashion to me in their own way to go out and be that guiding light for the next person who's asleep or who's going through that transition and doesn't know what the heck is happening. Carla, thank you for this. Helps understand the sudden lower body, feminine issues and cravings. I also had a few days of constant ringing, but now it only comes in for about 25 minutes and I just know how to listen. Perfect. Perfect. So many of us are on the same journey. So many of us are on the same journey. I smoke a lot of weed. Would you advise to stop? Is this holding me back? Great question. Okay. So I'm going to call myself out here. Most of you don't know this, but I smoke. I don't do it a lot, but I do. And here's my reason why. And I'm going to show you all the things. So marijuana is a plant. And if you are in a lower vibration, right, it's really going to depend on the quality of the flower, right, of the actual marijuana flower and that cannabinoid system. It's going to depend on the frequency of it. Is it organic? Who's growing it? What are they feeding it? You know, its environment. But that plant is resilient. And it could literally, when we talk about hemp in itself, it can do all the things that we need. It can build houses. It can make clothes. It can be used in so many things. And that's why it was banned, right? It took away a lot of the ability to create industrial things like tree logging and making paper and building houses out of wood and all of that stuff, right? It took a lot of industries away. So they had to ban the things that didn't make them more money, right? So it really depends on the frequency of the plant. But let's say you have a really good frequency plant, right? And so let's say you're chilling at about 4D on your baseline frequency of moments of 3D, moments of 5D, and you smoke and it brings you up in vibration. It opens you up. It relaxes your body. If you're using it in spiritual development and you're using it in microdosing ways, great, right? When you're using it to medicate, when you're using it to numb, and you're using it in excess, that's not great. That will block you. Excess use it's an addiction. So it muddies up the sacral, which then muddies up the third eye. So you go from having lucid, vivid dreams to all of a sudden you're not. And you start being more tired because the energy of that plant is to relax you. So you've spent too much time in the relaxed mode. Now you're more in the feminine and you're out of balance and you're not in your masculine and you're get up and go. So everything in moderation. If you have, for me personally, I use it to ground. If I don't actually even have any right now, but Saturday in a couple of days, I'm having a 4.5-hour event. I'm going to be doing a ton of channeling, right? And by the way, you guys can still jump in on that if you want to be a part of it. And so I'm going to be doing a lot of channeling. People ask me questions. I have to channel their guides. I have to channel their Akashic record. I have to channel their energy and bring their questions forward. Or I channel my team if they're asking me to teach them something. And so I do these high energy events. When I do a DNA activation and restructuring, I go super, super high. So if I'm struggling to ground, meaning I go outside and I drink water and I lay down and I get super present and I'm still really high up there, I'll smoke a little bit. And what that does is it immediately brings me present and anchored into my body. But again, you don't want to use it excessively. Okay. I used to also use it for sleep. Because I have such a high baseline frequency, I don't sleep a lot. I could literally probably sleep a couple of hours a day, but I actually like sleep and I actually want to sleep. And so there are times when I'm like, I really just want to sleep for 10 hours, or I really want to sleep for 8 hours, but my energy is so high in my base frequency that it's almost impossible. Because when you shift into 5D, or beyond that, because 5D is not the end, guys. It's going to keep going. When you start to maintain these frequencies, you're going to notice you need less sleep, you need less food, right? You start taking more liquids in instead of dense food, right? You don't need as much sleep. You don't need as much things as you needed before. You're going from more human to more galactic, right? Carbon, crystalline. So when that switch happens, right, when you're more crystalline, it's going to be harder for you to hold density. And that means including dense food. So I went through almost 2 years of straight liquid diet. I only drank smoothies, blended, drank water. I barely ate any kind of dense food because as I was going through that shift, I couldn't. It's only been the last few months that I've been able to bring back dense food in. And I've been able to have more well-balanced diet, but I had to regulate my system first. We go through these pendulum swings, right? So we go from eating this way to all of a sudden now I went from being a carnivore, right? I used to love me a good prime rib, all the way over to meat tasted horrible. They literally changed the taste of it because I wouldn't give it up. They made it taste disgusting. And I was like, oh, well, there you go. I can't eat it. And then went the chicken, and then went the eggs, and then went all of that stuff. So I literally could not eat it. It would make me sick. And so I got all that physical food went away, and I switched over to almost completely liquid because I was going through that crystalline transfer. And now I'm able to bring it back. It's coming back into balance. So now I have a more alkaline, balanced diet. And for those of you who still have women who still have a period, your periods will shift. You'll notice it. Okay, so hopefully I answered the weed question. It's not a bad thing. It's just moderation. Be mindful of what you're using it for, why you're using it. Don't do it in excess. That's all. Same with psilocybins, mushrooms. There's actually some states have legalized it. I'm sure you guys saw mushrooms. And microdosing mushrooms is a great way to deal with chemical imbalances due to long-term depression. I've even been seeing microdosing for ayahuasca and microdosing for LSD. And I know you guys are like, oh my God, LSD or ayahuasca, we think bad things, but if you use them in microdosing for intentional purposes and not to bypass your development and your evolution. It's way different. Okay. So a lot of times the government makes us feel like these certain things are bad. I'm not telling you to go out and start doing LSD, but what I'm saying is it's something that opens us up to the remembrance. But if we do it in microdosing, it's a very slow, steady progress, and it has amazing benefits. There's doing a ton of studies right now. Ayahuasca and LSD microdosing are still not, I don't actually know for sure about microdosing LSD if that's illegal here. I know microdosing or doing any ayahuasca is illegal in the US unless you go to ayahuasca church. There's a really great one in Florida. There's a bunch of them in Kentucky, which is a random place, right? But if it's a religious exemption, they can't stop you. So if you're interested in doing those things, right? But again, I had a client, she just actually wrapped up her private mentorship that went, that's planning to go on a retreat to do ayahuasca. And we made a whole bunch of space inside of her before she goes. Because if you are going to do ayahuasca and you haven't tapped in and faced your density and your darkness, and you're not even doing that, your trip's going to be horrible. It's going to be not so bueno. You want to have those tools, and you want to already be doing this work before you decide to go and try to take a shortcut, because that's why people do it. They're like, oh, let me just go do this. It'll make it all better. No, it's not the way that works. Periods, heavy, painful. Yeah, that's purging. That's purging. Think about it. Every month, right? For anybody who has a cycle still, it's a release. That's a purging. So it will be heavier. We're getting a lot of trolls today. That's interesting. Let's block that user. Okay. All right. Any other questions, guys? Anything else I can answer for you? So emotionally, confusion. I talked about this on the energy update. Confusion, again, that's the war energy. That's the inner conflict. Again, that's also going to be happening collectively, because they're going to start dripping real information, disclosing real information, while also dripping out wrong information to confuse you even more. Okay, so be mindful as this stuff is happening. Now, this really isn't the live for this, but I want to tell you that as we start to get towards the end of the month, right, you guys are going to start getting more clarity. It's going to start opening up for a lot. You guys are going to really start seeing that pathway opening up. So we don't just have, hopefully over the next week, I can do more of these videos on the actual energy itself. But we got a domino of really big energy coming. And as someone who has recently gone through 2 major purges, I always go first, right? People like me always go first. When I can tell you that when you get into that emotional dumpster, when you get to the bottom of your well with some of this energy, it can feel like you want to give up. It can feel like I can't do this. It can feel, everybody's going to be different, right? It's not everybody's going to feel it this deep. But if that happens and you get down there, reach out to a friend, okay? Reach out to a friend. You will make it through this, but you may need someone to tell you, I'm here, you're not alone, I love you. Know that, okay? Oh, cool, Lauren. I will, when we're off this live, I'll drop a link and you can check it out. And it's still on special right now. It's still 25% off. And it includes so much. Trolls out like crazy in many, yeah, they are. And there's nothing you can do about it. Just block them, delete the comment. On my TikTok, I leave them. They boost the algorithm. But when they start leaving these kind of comments and doing this kind of stuff, I just block and delete them. That's all you got to do. And don't engage. Here's another thing. You're going to get people on your page who are feeling disempowered, right? This is all disempowered energy here. When they're feeling disempowered, they have to take their power back. And they do that by taking it from other people, by making themselves feel better than you. I'm better than you. I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to argue with you in the comments. I'm going to tell you that you're weird or stupid or say all these terrible, mean things. Okay? Don't take it personal. Just delete it. Don't even argue with them. Don't engage with that energy. Don't entangle yourself in that energy. Let it go. Just look at them and go, oh my gosh, this poor person is is going through it, and they're feeling powerless. They're feeling disempowered right now. And so they feel the need to take their power back. If you look at all the things that are wrong with the country right now, and we can go into all the things that the celebrities and the government and blah, blah, blah are doing, that's stage one of evolution. That's me. And I can't sustain the frequency of my needs. So I have to go take from other people. Okay. Remember that. And you can see them and be like, I need to send them love right now, but I'm first going to get them out of my energy and not be tangled in with that. And when you do that, you actually up level in that moment. When you can step into that response instead of reaction, you up level. I had all sorts of ringing in the ears and seeing 1111, et cetera, a couple of years ago. Recently, nothing. That's okay. I was the same way when I went through the beginnings of my awakening, and now I'll see synchronicity, but it's for particular reasons. So if I'm going through something emotionally, I will see synchronicity like crazy, in all ways, not just numbers, because my guides are letting me know, hey, we're here. We haven't left you. We're here. We're all around you. And they get your attention through synchronicity, right? If life's good and you're cruising around and, life's good, they're there, but they don't need to tell you that you're there, right? You're not seeking that validation, right? So maybe you have a really good idea or a creative thing and you're pondering, is this something I should be doing? And all of a sudden you see synchronicity. It's different. That's them acknowledging you and saying, hey, yeah, that right there. That's good, right? You say something and you look over and you're like, oh my God, it's 11:11. What were you just thinking? What was just happening? So just because the synchronicity stops doesn't mean that they're not with you or that nothing's evolving, okay? A lot of people are having the ear ringing. Remember, as I wrap, I want you to remember this. When the pressure on the, okay, one last thing before we wrap. Pressure on the crown. When you have the pressure on a crown, you're literally going through an expansion of your brain, right? Our brains are our computer. And right now it's very limited. Okay. But the more we break down the limitations and restrictions and beliefs that we have been programmed with, or that we have accepted as our truth, right? If you go back to December's energy update, I talked about the belief systems. There's a lot of good information that I released in that energy update. So go back and watch it a couple of times if you need to. But the more space you make, the more you open up your brain, and the more quantum it becomes, right? It becomes a quantum computer instead of that old, outdated 5-year-old computer, a 10-year-old computer. And so when that happens, it can literally feel like your head's going to explode. I remember in 2016, I don't know, somewhere in there. I would be in my office, like holding my head, feeling like my head was going to explode from the pressure. Okay. So when that happens, ask them to turn it down, and then visualize, right? You guys are so powerful. Visualize calming color light coming in. So I use aquamarine, the aquamarine ray, or the soft pink ray of grace. These are frequencies that I pull in from my own 12D healing modality. But I bring in colors that are relaxing and soothing, and I envision them coming in through my crown and out my feet and back around, right? Creating that torsion effect, because I want the energy to move. I want it to move. But again, remember that you are in control. The more you can communicate your needs and what you need. Now, sometimes you're still going to have discomfort because that's something that you have to surrender to. Grace through suffering. We surrender to the pain and we stop fighting with it. We stop trying to fix it. We start holding space for it. But you can ask for help, and you can say, hey, I need you to turn this down. This is way too much for me, right? Don't bulldoze it or try to suffer through it because you think it's going to make you a better person or more awake or whatever. Don't do that. That's not comfortable. Okay. So that's what I got for you guys today. Please share this broadcast out. Let everybody know about what we're experiencing. I gave away a lot of good information today. So if you feel called to donate to support my channel, you can do that as well. I'll share a link for that as well. And if you're interested in the Academy, I'm going to drop a link for the Academy for anybody who is struggling with any type of healing, any type of awareness. In the Academy, we go through your discovering your purpose, your mission, helping you learn how to process your energy, manage your energy. There's advanced rebirthing classes in there, the reclamation, right? The mastery level. So if you're in the beginning of your journey, or you're coming up to me or equal to me, or in that phrase where you're like, I'm a little bit more advanced, there's something in there for everybody. And I don't have a time limit, unlike a lot of teachers on their academies. I don't make you stay for 3 months or 12 months, at least not right now. So if you go in there and you win a month or 2 months and it feels you've got what you've got, then you can cancel. It's a bi-monthly thing unless you want to pay for the whole year. So that's available to you. I'll drop that. And I'll also drop a link to Saturday's event. These are, I used to call them weekend workshops. They're 4.5 hours. You can come on and you can ask me questions. This isn't so much about getting a reading. It's about, hey, this is what I'm going through. This is what I'm struggling with. This is a trauma or a wound or an inner conflict, or I need help with my development and spirituality here. And we come together and we quantum leap together. We work through it. So it's your opportunity to basically have a mini session with me. And if you're not somebody, if I have a very full house and I can't get to everybody, we always create it in a way that you get what you need just by showing up. Okay. So I'll put that in there for you guys as well. But at the very minimum, if you guys could share this out or share it privately via Messenger and let someone, hey, this will be helpful to you. That's always great. We got to spread that knowledge. We got to share the knowledge as much as we can. So I'm going to keep showing up for you guys as much as I physically can and feel called to do so. And so just have me on notification through Facebook or YouTube so that you know when I'm live. And I hope you guys all have an amazing night, and I will talk to you soon.